Solid drawing is the consideration of volume and weight of your object in three-dimensional space. If you consider weight and volume in your object and the depth like in real life, it is not just a page that you're drawing on. It is not just the x-axis and the y-axis that you're drawing on, but also the z depth of it. Take in consideration the depth, the virtual depth that you have in your paper, like the perspective. Perspective is very important here, like it is going back and forth inside and to the screen. In the formation of your character or object, consider the lines going and abiding by the rules of perspective. So let me show you some simple example here for solid drawing. Okay, so let's see if we have just one cube. If you have just a cube for your graphics animation or something, and you can go ahead and fill some color and use this cube and animate it. But if you really want to show depth and reality to it, weight and volume, what I'll just simply do is I can simply add a bit of a perspective depth to it, so that this is much more a solid object. See, before it was just a square. It could be interpreted as just a flat square and we didn't have any depth to it. So how do you show that it's not a square but a box? Okay, you can have this kind of simple depth to it with dark shader of color and you got a solid drawing. Okay, and otherwise if you want to add more to it, then you can go and create a cube, maybe, perhaps, and add some more dimension to it. Okay, the three dimension that are visible, and instantly you get more of a depth and volume and weight to it. Okay, so these lines are going into perspective. If it doesn't don't have perspective, it is too flat. Okay, these are the vanishing points wherever they are going, wherever they are reaching. And if you know about 1 point or 2 point perspective, I suggest you study them, so to add more depth to your object. So on a flat paper, on an axis of just x and y, you have added another dimension, which is the z depth that is going in. All right, and this depth gives volume and weight to your objects. Okay, so another example here we can see is that if I have a character, okay, it has a circular belly and a head. Okay, so if he is wearing his pants, and if I just draw something like this and his eyes, okay, and some two buttons. So instead of doing this, this is good enough, okay, for a simpler object. But if I want to add more depth to it, I'll go ahead and of course, if I have to give volume to it, this would be a sphere instead of just a flat circle. Okay, and if it is a sphere, the contour of that sphere, I have to take into consideration of the surface contours of the sphere. So what I'll do is, if it is a bit of a top angle, I'll draw this line curved so that it goes with the surface outer contour of the circle, and it gives more depth to it. All right, and these will be the buttons which I'll be taking in perspective like this. All right, and I'll make him not very flat. The eyes, even if the eyes are there, the closer one will be bigger, and this perspective will be working there. So this will give more of a depth to the character and the shapes of your character, the basic shapes. So let's say if you have if you want to show a shopping bag in your motion graphics animation, okay, I can simply go and create a bag like this. All right, this might be enough, but to add more to it, let's see if we can draw it in in depth, in perspective. And let's see if we can make use of this. principle to make it more interesting. Okay, so according to me, this is much more of a uh, it's too thick here. We can just reduce that and we can play with the depth. So according to me, this is a much better presentation, much better staging and design, because this has much more of a detail to it. Okay, this is a simple difference that there is. This is much more of a solid drawing, and this is very very flat. That we have just made use of two axes here, and I didn't think what we can add, but in this it is much more appealing, as you can see. Now here I have animated this simple motion graphics animation, and as you can see I have made use of elements like Z depth and perspective in my animation to give it more of a solid feel. Okay, now you can see this is just 2D, and it has nothing to do with three-dimensional software, but I did this in After Effects, and it is very simple that I change the scale of the object, and then I use I also made use of the element like focus. So whatever the object I want to focus on, it's in the front, and the depth of field is acting upon the objects which are behind. So this gives a sense of depth and solidity to it. It has volume, it has weight, it has the dimension to it, because see, the objects are flat, but they are like badges. But what I did is I used so the principle of solid drawing into the staging, into the composition of my animation, so that I give a sense of depth to it. Solid drawing implies upon the drawing, the designing of your objects or characters, as well as the designing of your scene, the compositional skills too. So to give it a whole and soul of a third dimension of a feel to it.